This is Proverbs 31 Wife, and we're going to have a discussion about Alex Jones.
Yes, ma'am, the statement is this. The judge is doing this for political reasons. Everything is hidden in plain view. I've been found guilty by the judge, and now there's a trial where they tell a jury to decide how much money I pay was already guilty. That's never happened. We gave them all the discovery. A default is when somebody is being sued and they leave the country and don't show up for the trial. Or they get caught doing criminal things like paying off a judge or something. They have taken my right for a jury to decide if I'm guilty, and now a judge tells a jury that I'm guilty, and they're trying to hide that from the jury. And during the jury questioning, they were really confused and kept asking, well, I thought you're innocent until proven guilty in criminal or civil trial. She goes, well, this is a special case. I say he's guilty. She read that to the jury. I say Alex Jones is guilty. And now you're going to decide how guilty he is. And then they get up there and put all these edited videos out completely out of context. I mean, I've never seen anything like it. And this is the weaponization of the judiciary. It's absolutely horrifying. This is a witch hunt. This is a show trial. This will go down in history as one of the greatest show trials ever to happen, not just here, but even in places like Nazi Germany. I mean, even in Nazi Germany, they let you basically be innocent or proven guilty. They would then just rig parts of the trial. Here, she says, I'm guilty until proven guilty. Guilty until proven guilty. Not guilty until proven innocent, like Nazi Germany, because you were guilty until proven innocent in Nazi Germany. Here, I'm guilty, the judge says, and then they decide how guilty. And then, I mean, the process of this is unbelievable. They have all our emails, all our documents, all our videos that we gave them. They defaulted as saying we didn't give them any of that. I spent millions and millions of dollars. They don't tell anybody that she's fined me $1.5 million. And we're not allowed to tell the jury that. She put an order out saying, you will not tell the jury that you're innocent. You will not tell the jury that you're not getting a fair trial. This is an order in motions in limine. You will not tell the jury that you're not a bad person. I have to sit there while they go, he agrees he's guilty, and you're just going to decide how much he pays. This is the murder of your rights to due process, to the federal constitution and the state constitution of Texas, that in any number of just a few dollars, that you get the jury to decide if you're guilty, and then they decide damages in a separate group of hearings.
Mr. Jones, I have to interrupt, but what do you have to say to the victims' families about the evidence that was laid out? We all know Sandy Hook's it's happened, you mock the parents. What do you have to say about that?
Yeah, well, that wasn't, see, you just said the evidence. That was a bunch of edited garbage. Did you notice he kept saying that I made fun of Heslin? I never said his name until today. And we're going to show all that in there. All lies, all lies. My fill-in host was just reading a Zero Hedge article because it was a huge controversy. I went on Megyn Kelly and said I thought it happened. I went on Megyn Kelly and said I was sorry. They didn't show you that. They showed a controversy about something that a news article on Zero Hedge said.
Well, he is being railroaded, and his constitutional rights is being violated, and if we just passively let this go by and don't say anything, we're next. It'll be everybody I have to deal with this. Because if they get by with it with him, they'll do it to you and me.
We have guardrails. Do we have standards?
But here's the problem. We can't even agree. We can't even agree what disinformation is. You can't even agree that it was disinformation, that the Russians fed information to the Steele dossier. If you can't agree to that, how are we ever going to come to an agreement on what is disinformation so you can police it on social media?
Senator, I have 2 points, if I may finish. Number one, that what this office, what this working group does, because it's not an office, what this working group does is ensure that there are guardrails, definitions, standards to make sure that the free speech rights, the civil liberties, and privacy rights of individuals.
So do you think COVID disinformation threatens our national security?
And number two, if I may, Senator, and number two, is it your proposition that when the cartels spread disinformation with respect to our immigration policies to try to lure vulnerable migrants to our border illegally?
I think you've got no idea what disinformation is, and I don't think the government's capable of it. Do you know who the greatest propagator of disinformation in the history of the world is? The U.S. government. Are you familiar with McNamara, the Pentagon Papers? Are you familiar with George W. Bush and the weapons of mass destruction? Are you familiar with Iran-Contra? I mean, think of all the debates and disputes we've had over the last 50 years in our country. We work them out by debating them. We don't work them out by the government being the arbiter. I don't want you guardrails. I want you to have nothing to do with speech. You think we can't determine speech by traffickers is disinformation? You think the American people are so stupid they need you to tell them what the truth is? You can't even admit what the truth is with the Steele dossier. I don't trust government to figure out what the truth is. Government is largely disseminating disinformation. So I do have a question, and here's the question. So the Russians, maybe some cartels. What about COVID disinformation? Is that in your bailiwick for your disinformation governance board?
Senator, you would have to give me the details with.
Okay, here I've said a million times that cloth masks don't work. YouTube takes me down. They're a private company. I can have that beef with them. What about you? You're going to look at that? I often say that natural immunity from having had the infection is equal to the vaccine or better. You going to take that down?
Well, first of all,
those are very specific.
Senator, first of all, it's not for us to take it down. And second of all,
are you going to put information out there saying that I'm spreading disinformation?
Senator, we are not the public health experts to make those determinations.
So public health won't be part of the Disinformation Governance Board. No COVID disinformation. Yes or no?
Senator?
Yes or no? Is public health going to be part of your censorship group?
Somebody allow me, because you're presenting hypotheticals that are vague.
I just gave you a very specific one on cloth masks. I gave you a very specific one on immunity from previous infections.
I answered your question, but let me answer the last question that you posed. Do not, under any circumstances, accept a vaccine at a FEMA overseen vaccination center because they are actually peddling fentanyl. Now, should I sit back and take that, or should I actually disseminate accurate information? That's what we would do. Should FEMA issue accurate information that the vaccinations that we are administering in the sites that we oversee actually are the COVID-19 vaccines?
I have a greater respect for the American people than you do. I think the American people can figure out the truth. And if you think the American people need to be told there's not fentanyl in the vaccination, feel free to say it. But the thing is if you are going to go around saying that you are the arbiter of information and of disinformation, I think you have no clue. And you don't have the perspective history knowing that disinformation, the largest progenitor of disinformation in our history has probably been the U.S. government.
I've never said that, and actually I've said the exact opposite.
Thank you,
We
Senator.
are not the truth police.
Thank you, Senator Paul. Senator.
Thank you, Rand Paul. Maybe they'll quit censoring what we say if he keeps doing what he's doing. And that's all I have time for today. I'm at work. So you all have a blessed, wonderful day.